The day we've been waiting for, all aboard the Enterprise. Yes, good morning everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. It is Saturday the 9th of August 2025 and today it is the day that we've all been waiting for, the day the new National League season gets underway, and for it we are going back to the international stadium for the first time this season, and in a roundabout way we are picking up where we left off, because today it is Gateshead versus Southend United, which was of course our last game of last season, which ultimately ended in a little bit of disappointment. But can this season breathe new life into us, and can we fare a little bit better today? Let's get into this and let's head on up to the Heed. So I'm in Gateshead, and of course last season Southend finished in 7th place in the National League table, just pipped us to that last playoff spot, and they made a pretty good run of it in the playoffs actually. Won against Rochdale in the eliminators, then against Forest Green Rovers in the semi-final before being edged out in extra time by Oldham Athletic in the final. So it was kind of so near yet so far for them, but I think despite that kind of disappointment that they will have had with that result at Wembley, it definitely does give them something to build on. I think maybe halfway through last season not many people would have expected them to have reached that point, because given that last season was a bit of a slow burner for them. But as we said, they've kind of kept a good core of the squad from last season on, so they'll be looking to push on again. But I think obviously for us, like there was a real toxic feeling at the end of last season. I mean that day against Southend on the last game, it was just a really horrible feeling about the place, and you just did not know what was coming next. And it goes without saying, it's been a pretty hectic summer to say the least. Quite a few incomings, quite a few outgoings. There's been a couple of incomings over the last day or so. Obviously yesterday Ethan Fitzhugh put pen to paper. Obviously he was a trialist in pre-season. I think he at Spennymoor he impressed, so I'm glad to have him at the club. And we've also announced the loan arrival of Kyle Hurst from Doncaster Rovers, so we're getting a bit of a knack for taking young Doncaster players on loan, aren't we? But again, another winger. It'll be interesting to see how he fits into the squad. But I think, like obviously, last season, let's be honest, the turnover of players we had throughout the whole campaign was just absolutely crazy. I think we got through like 56 players or something like that overall, and that's just never going to be sustainable for trying to gain success. So the start of this season kind of reminds me of the start of the 18-19 season, where we're going into it with a smaller, perhaps younger squad, a little bit of a step into the unknown. But despite all the ridiculous off-the-pitch shenanigans of that season, that was actually probably one of the most enjoyable I've had, at least watching the Gateshead side, because as I say, had a real tight-knit squad that absolutely worked, like grafted the nuts off every single week, and gave us some great moments along the way. And I think if it wasn't for like all the craziness of that season taking its toll at the end, I think that team probably would have got into the playoffs. And you see what some of the players from that squad have gone on to do since. I think that's maybe presents itself as a good marker for maybe some of the younger players that are coming through now, where like this is what they did, and this is what you could potentially do as well. So I'm like not going to set any expectations as such for the season. I just want to take each game as it comes and just see where that leads us. I mean, like the overall effort levels and that kind of thing in pre-season, I've got to say, was very, very good by pre-season standards, and obviously we're going to have to take that up a notch now. But yeah, I'm sure the players will rise to that challenge. I'm sure they'll give every game a good go. I mean, it goes without saying this is a very, very tough way to start, but you know what, there's still another 40 odd games to go after this. Like, this game, whether we win it, draw it, lose it, is in no way season defining, but I think you always want to get off to a good start, and I think a positive result and a positive performance from us today would maybe set out a marker from ourselves. I think we've got a lot of people to prove wrong this year. I think there's been a lot of people, for one reason or the other, saying that we're going to seriously struggle. It's down to the team and down to Alan now to prove those people wrong. But as we said, nothing's going to be won or lost as such today, despite other than this game. And there's still, like, I'm sure I have to say there'll be things we can identify as what we're doing right, but at the same time, maybe things that we can improve on as well. But let's just hope you know, we can go out there, put in a good display, and hopefully by the end of it all come out with a result that is something to build on. So let's head on down to the International Stadium and find out how it all unfolds. So teams are out warming up. Southend are getting ready over there. Going to be in a yellow away strip this afternoon, and Gateshead getting ready over there. Of course, we are going to be in our white home strip. Anyway, I'll see you when the players are coming out of the tunnel and ready to start the match. And isn't it good to see a pitch with a bit of grass on it? There's absolutely no cohesion in this team. Looks is all over the place again. Fuck me, this is a shambles. Absolutely miles away from them again. So there's a bit of a layoff here. The pani's been down on the floor for quite some time. All I'm going to say about the challenge is obviously Ralph, the Southend player, some referees might not have been so lenient with him there.
I haven't exactly. Is it your rule? How long ago you got it? Did you go to Scotland to do this? No, because I was in hospitality. You weren't fucking a man of the people very long, were you?
Oh, yes.
What a load of shit!
Half-time, Gateshead 0, Southend United 1. Obviously that tackle that took place while I wasn't recording, I've seen it again. Someone was doing someone that's obviously watching this game on a stream was doing a recording of it, and my opinion is that they should be down to 10 men, but that doesn't take anything away from the fact that they've absolutely battered us for the overwhelming majority of that first half. There could have been 3-0 within the first 5 minutes or something like that. There's just been absolutely no cohesion, especially at the back for us, which has been surprising because I think when I've looked at our kind of defensive line, I thought it'd be pretty solid. I thought there was probably the necessary experience there, but we just look absolutely all over the place. We look really nervous on the ball. There's too many players just look a little bit scared to have the ball. So we really need to calm it down a little bit. I mean, we've only had one shot in that first half, and even that was just a little kind of prod past an unrushed goalkeeper. It wasn't didn't have any kind of venom in it. I mean, it was just kind of past the post. It was a little bit unlucky in all fairness, but I think all in all we're getting taught a bit of a harsh lesson on the opening day here, and I think the players maybe need a little bit of a kick up the arse at half time. It'd be interesting to see kind of if the shape kind of changes for either the sides in the second half. Obviously, will Southend maybe sit in a little bit more as the half goes on and make it difficult for us to break them down? What sort of changes will we opt to make? But it's not been. I know nothing's ever been decided in the first 45 minutes of the season ever, but it's been a pretty brutal wake-up call at this so far.
Get him fucking done, Vernon.
Of this shit to endure. We've had a shot. We've had a shot.
PCD, double legion. Get pissed. Oh, you fucking whistle. Fucking misery. Can't even complete the pass!
Full-time Gateshead 0, Southend United 3. I can fully accept the bit about the opposition being better than us today, and I think in all fairness we're probably not the only team that's going to get a bit of a hiding off of Southend this year, but what I can't wrap my head around is the fact that we gave them absolutely nothing at all to think about. We registered one shot throughout the whole of that game, which was one that sailed harmlessly over the bar in added time when the game was long since over, which kind of explained it all. And if that game today doesn't kind of make it abundantly obvious, then that we need reinforcements. We need we need extra reinforcements. I think especially in defensive areas, then absolutely nothing will, because I think especially down that right hand side, obviously Callum Johnson's being injured, and I mean, with all due respect to Connor Panny and Will Flint, they just really didn't look comfortable in those kind of positions. But the thing is, they've not really been given much of a choice, have they? But so that is an area that needs addressing, and addressing fairly sharpish. But you know what? As I've said, I think Southend will continue the good work that they kind of got going at the end of last season, and they'll be right up there once again. But I think it goes without saying for us, that has to be the worst performance that we put in this season. Otherwise, it doesn't matter who the opposition is. We're going to have some very long and sort of difficult games to watch if we're going to be performing like that. I mean, as a supporter, I've got to somehow find get the motivation within myself to get up and make the long trek down to Eastleigh next week, which on the back of that, I can't exactly say I'm looking forward to it at this moment in time. And the thing is, if you're a floating fan, maybe you don't go all the time, and you've decided to go to that today to see how we're looking on the opening day of the season, that kind of thing, why would you want to go back on the back of watching that? I think for the purposes of trying to get a semi-respectable crowd for that Tamworth game in a couple of weeks' time, we've got to show a damn sight more away at Eastleigh and away at Rochdale. Obviously, two pretty tough games. I know Eastleigh haven't got off to the best start to the season either, but that was tough to watch today. When as I've said, Southend were better than us on the day, and I will hold my hands up for that. I think even if Nathan Ralph had been sent off, I don't think it would have made a great deal it would have kind of changed the outcome too much. But I just think from a Gateshead perspective, I was hoping for a little bit more today. I wasn't overly expecting with regards to the result. It was one of those games where if we would have got a point out of the game, I would have been fairly content with that. It is literally just the fact that we never even got close to them. It looked like one of those. It looked like a cup tie where you come up against a side that is in a significantly higher league than you, and are obviously much fitter than you, got much more quality than what you've got, and the fact that was happening in a league game against a side that we were, well around in the table last season, got 4 points off of last season. It just really, it was really, really poor. I just, there was people leaving it in the numbers after the third goal went in, which I think kind of explained everything. Like we just were not in that game state, but at the end of the day, that's not really Southend's problem, is it? They could only beat what's put in front of them, but we've got to have a look at things from top to bottom. And I mean, the fact that like you're looking at the touchline for a little bit of direction, and not once did anyone stand up and give that, and that kind of rubbed out onto the pitch. There was no like leaders on the pitch. Like every time we got the ball, we just seemed to be going backwards with it. The list could go on. It was just so poor, and as I said, nothing's decided on the first day of the season, but we've got to be a damn sight better than that going forward if we want to finish in a respectable position. But that is that for this video, and I'll be back on Wednesday night with some North Riding League action between Darlington Railway Athletic and Thirsk Falcons. Now I know obviously Gateshead are playing on Wednesday night in the National League Cup, but I've said enough times my reasons why I won't entertain that competition, so yeah, it'll be the trip to the RA on Wednesday night. But until then, take care, cheers for watching, see you later.